So 5 coins that could be coming into a good buy zone if this market corrects. Hi everyone, welcome to today's video. If you're new to the channel, subscribe, bell button, leave a like, all that good stuff. Now, we're going to do a little bit of speculation. I've picked 5 coins that are relatively well known. They've got different elements of new stuff coming, or different use cases that are not going to interlink with each other too much. But the market could well be correcting quite nicely going into the next month or so. Right. If you've not yet watched my video yesterday, I'll put a little pin up so you can see it. I do think the market will correct a little bit, not massively. I'm not expecting a death destruction, but I am expecting it to pull back maybe into that kind of level, maybe even into where the EMA is, into where this basically down to the 1 trillion mark for altcoins, right? So we could be losing like 100 billion off the market, and we could get some nice little buy orders potentially, right? This is all speculation, right? Not financial advice. Now, these coins here, they've run a bit, they've still got good stuff happening, and they could still be a good place for you to get some multiples potentially. I'm going to start off with the first one because it's quite obvious realistically, and it is Luna. The reason being, I do like it a lot. Again, it's one of those ones that I did miss out on, certainly when I featured it a while back, but it has had an all-time high, I think, of around $34. Yeah, $34.51. So it's down quite a chunk, about 20-odd%, give or take, which isn't too bad now, but it could go further. And we'll look at the chart, actually, look at the chart on this one, nice and simple, because I do think it could come to a nice little buy order, and I do believe this level here, which I've already marked out for you guys, is of interest. Between $22 and $20 could be a place where it could be quite an interesting place. Could it go lower? Of course it can. It depends on the market. If the market is rubbish, or if something goes wrong, obviously it can go lower. But it's that old fine caveat of having a little bit of a sprinkle dust in and around certain levels and see what happens. Because if you're planning for the long term anyways, and you have that fundamental belief that it's going to go beyond where it is right now, realistically any order is a good order, and that's what you got to focus on and worry about longer term is, can I get the best possible order? And that should be the case. There's too many people that when they wish for a dip, and I've seen this a lot, they'll wish for it and they're like, right, it's happening, and then like, I'm going to buy now. Shit, it might go lower. Shit. You got to be very, very careful. Anyways, I'm not going to focus too much on BTC because I'm worried about the time. It might go a little bit longer, this video, because I am going over 5 coins. Now, the next coin, I've not mentioned it for a while, but VeChain hasn't corrected much, in terms of going back up again, right? So when you look at all-time high, around 25 cents, give or take, I believe. Let's have a look. All-time high, yeah, well, 27.8 cents. So it's down 56% now. But it might actually go even, even lower technically in the market if we are going to get that correction. Again, do your research. This is all about logistics. It's relatively, I like VeChain a lot. Let's get a nice little chart. US, no. There we go. Tether. Right, that's on the USD. It'll be fine. Anyways, for me, looking at this, we've hit an obvious point of resistance. You can kind of see this, and also, yeah. Perfect resistance. So for me, that's a good top call, right? So you'll know that roughly that is somewhat potential top, and cool. We can now look for potential orders, which is always a good thing to do. It's up to you though, how you want to do this. Now for me, I'd look at Fibonacci to start off with. And for me, this level of interest is always going to be there. So when I look onto the lower time frames on that, you can kind of see already there's been a level in and around these regions of interest, which is roughly around 11 cents, which we're not too far away from now. So that could be one little order, but one order as well down here is, 8 cents, 8.9 cents, which could be of obvious interest too. Why? Because for me, fundamental wise, we've had levels of resistance and support in and around this region. We could also go lower. So you just got to be very much mindful and respect the levels. And that's the one thing I don't think people realistically understand with chart and analysis. Respect the past. You got to respect it, because if they've been there before, if there's been support levels, there have been resistance levels or something, and it is in line with maybe Fibonacci or maybe EMAs or whatever it may be, it could well hit. And if you're ready and you've got that marked on your chart as an alert or whatever, and you're thinking, right, I can go and purchase however amount I want at this point, cool, you know, why not? So there you go, VeChain, roughly low end of 11 cents, and then you got 8.9. But see where it goes. Could be of interest, in my opinion. Moving on to the next coin. A coin I've not mentioned for a while, actually. So one that I do hold is Swissborg. Swissborg have been pretty active over the last coming weeks because they've just got listed onto Bitfinex and stuff like that. Doing well. And they're also, you know, they're about to list Matic, which, spoiler alert, might be in this video. It's interesting because the more and more people that utilize and use it, a lot of people use the token utility on the app, not so much on the fact of, you know, buying and trading on the exchanges. So a lot of them are used on here because if you put in 2,000, you essentially get a lot, you know, a real cheap, you know, rate for all the kind of bits and pieces. As you can see here, you lock it up for a year and you get a load of cheap stuff, and that's all the fees and stuff. It's relatively good. Now, with increased distribution, will Binance list it, for example? I don't know, because it's competition realistically. But they are adding more and more coins, they're going on more exchanges, so it could well be a market sentiment element here of an on-ramp and an off-ramp. And I do recommend it for an off-ramp and an on-ramp. It's really good. These link below. You can get a scratch card if you're interested. Now, all-time high. It's quite a way off still, and I do think, yes, this could dip, but also it's kind of one of those ones that the more people that use this, the better it's going to become. And it's already down 42%. So it's definitely of interest. So let's have a little look at this one. Oops, go away alert. So in terms of Swissborg, it's been ridiculous, really. Obviously, ignore that massive random ass wick. This is on the HIP BTC chart, which isn't the greatest. I'm not quite sure what chart I can get on here. We've got the new Bitfinex ones, but they're not the greatest for like Qcoin and stuff. No, for some reason you don't get USD on. I don't know why. Ignore my alerts. Anyways, right. So we topped out at roughly. We went berserk the other day with the listing and stuff like that. But I'm more interested in what's happening now. I think this could come back. It's obviously doing a little bit of a retracement here. But realistically, for me, it's still in an uptrend. So just keep an eye on it. Maybe this EMA could be of interest. It's 70 odd cents, which for me looks like a pretty solid level with levels of resistance in and around that region, stuff like that. So keep an eye on that level. If we are looking at this as a potential top level, again, ignoring that random def wick, but at the same time, looking at that, not far away from the 618. So maybe move that down a little bit in front of it. But this is already at a level of support and it already has reacted off it. So there's definitely some interest there. So it could be, you know, very interesting to see what happens here. For me, I think this order here will be a real good order, around 70 cents for me personally. And I have been buying a little bit here and there of this just randomly through the yield app and stuff like that, just moving stuff around. Long term with market sentiment, if the market goes turbo and they've got a lot more coins on here, a lot more coins on the yield platform as well, because it's going to get very interesting. Matic goes live on this today. And I know that the yield is going to go live on it next week as well. So that's interesting to know that more and more people will use the app to then lock up their Matic to essentially, you know, create a yield, which obviously will increase token utility for the use case of the entire app and the entire service, which is, in my opinion, one of the best in crypto. So yeah, Swissborg, definitely of interest. Next one, mentioned it just before, Polygon, Matic. An interesting proposition. It will benefit hugely for the scaling solution and the scale factor of what the world of Ethereum is going to do. So if Ethereum does well, this should do well too. And you can see here all-time high roughly at $2.50, maybe a bit higher than that. So look, all-time high $2.68. So it's still down 47%, and it could go a little bit lower. Now again, one of those coins that done absolutely crazy. I was, you know, telling people just be careful with it because of certain regions, and we've hit this top level. I've already done an analysis on this not too long ago, and you can see where this level is here. So maybe we might hit that level, maybe not, I don't know. But for me, I wouldn't go full tilt towards the 618 just in case, you know, because you just don't know what the market's going to do. At the same time, you've always got to respect, as I said before, respect the levels, and that is a big level there. We've had a wick tap here, we've had levels in and around this region. If you go to the daily time frame, you can see it in more clear light. So that is going to be of interest. We're on the EMA right now, which is pretty good. But at the same time, $1.30 could be of interest and roughly around the $1 mark if this is going to correct pretty heavily. But we'll see. At the end of the day, September isn't a great month for Bitcoin. It may well bring a bit of the market down, which is fair enough if it does, okay, which is fine. But we've got to be very, very mindful that this market could, in a drop of a hat, flip. There's a lot of bullish sentiment around Ethereum, around NFTs, around scaling solutions, so maybe Matic might go on an absolute worldie. Last one, last coin, and I've not mentioned this one for a while too, and yeah, KSM. On the 1st of September, there's going to be 5 more parachain auctions for KSM, and this is already, it's already been around $600, give or take. What's the all-time high? There you go, 623. It's down 54%, and we could be getting a nice little dip on this moving forward. But at the same time, we may also be getting a huge run if the parachain auctions get sent. It's going to be interesting to see where this goes. So for me, I think this is undervalued. I think this is got a long-term good reach for potential as the network effect grows with the Kusama chain. But we've got to look overall. If I look at this dipping point here to that point, we're at a level here of potential interest. Now that's only on the daily time frame. We're on the EMA right now. So it's of interest to see where we could go. Now, if I'm going to look at this, it's not looking too bad. When you look at this overall, look at this level here, roughly not too far away from where we are. If you're looking left here, you've got levels all the way across the board here. That could be of interest. Again, looking a little bit lower, you know, technically around the 618 level, 220, huge levels in and around there. So those for me look like perfect levels of interest and confluence where you could be looking for me personally. So there we go. Nice and simple. Some coins that could dip into some nice zones, and we're not too far away on some of them, obviously. We don't know what the market's going to give us. Remember, always take profits. A few days ago, I took a little bit off the table with BTC around 50k because I wasn't 100% sure to see if it would go through, and obviously we're not, which is good, obviously. So, see you later. Enjoy.